College football is already heading into week 2, and here to give his favorite bets for the second week of action is DraftKings contributor Julian Edlow. Jules, matchup of the week, number 12 Oregon at number 3 Ohio State. Big spread right now. Ohio State are 14.5-point favorites. So who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show us those elite programs, the top 5 or so in the nation, what the gap is between the rest of the country. Oregon's a pretty good team. They struggled a little bit in week 1 to squeak by and now go on the road to the Horseshoe. This is their Super Bowl. If they make any noise this season, it's by coming in here and having a good showing against Ohio State. So the Buckeyes are going to get the Ducks' best shot in this one. The number's wild. Like they want you to take that 14.5, right? Lose by 2 touchdowns, you still cash this one. I can't do it. I can't bet against Ohio State after seeing what that offense looked in the first half. I mean, the freshman quarterback didn't even look good in the first half, made some mistakes. Minnesota led at halftime. And then those big plays that Ohio State ripped off. This one for me, this is Ohio State or nothing. And if that hook scares you, maybe just go to the alternate lines and lay the 14 so that you don't have to go all the way to 14.5. But I will not bet against the Buckeyes, especially at home.
All right, so top 10 matchup, rivalry game. Iowa getting 4.5 points on the road against Iowa State. Can Iowa win as a road underdog?
Of course they can win. It's a rivalry game that we see every year, and Iowa State has had a lot of trouble with it in the past. But for me, this is the year that Iowa State needs to take it, and they know that. And I like that Iowa's coming into this game a little bit hyped up. They had the huge week 1 victory, smashing Indiana in a game with a pretty close point spread. And now that hype is there. The look-ahead line at times touched 7 in this game. And now it actually went down to 3.5 after the thrashing that Iowa gave Indiana. Went up to 5.5, now kind of settles at 4.5. I will lay the 4.5 with the home favorite in this spot, Iowa State, just because it feels like the books don't want to move this number. It feels like the sportsbook doesn't want to move this number. We see from at least the last splits I got from DK Sportsbook, about 70% of the bets, 70% of the money are on the underdog road Iowa team here. And yet this number won't creep down to 3, where everybody's kind of trying to wait and get it if you like Iowa State at home. So forget getting the good number. I'll just lay the 4.5 here with Iowa State.
All right, primetime game, another Big Ten Pac-12 matchup. Who do you like in Washington versus Michigan?
Yeah, I'm in trouble here. I'm between a rock and a hard place. I had Phil Steele, college football expert, on the Unreasonable Odds podcast over the summer. His biggest surprise team was Washington, took them over 8.5 wins. They lose outright to Montana at home in week 1. I almost cried, but we need to move on. Phil Steele told me by the time we get to this game, Washington's going to look good. Michigan maybe a little bit of a down year. Washington's going to be favored by a field goal in this game. Well, we're 10 points away from that now. So I took Washington at even money in this game. And here we are, 7 points later. So for me, I think the value's there on Washington. It's only 1 week in. I need to see more. I will gladly take the value here and take the +7 with Washington, who I still think is the better team. The quarterback threw 3 interceptions against Montana at home in week 1, and yet waiting on the bench is the freshman Sam Howard, who is related to his father played at Washington, played in the NFL. His uncle played at Washington, played in the NFL at quarterback. This kid's a talented prospect. I think they're going to make the move at quarterback, and that's going to make the difference in this game. I still think Washington can win, and I think getting the 7 points is value that we certainly weren't expecting at this stage in the season.
All right, Jules, what's your favorite game total this week out of everyone that you're looking at?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't bet a total this year, and I don't know if I'm going to bet a total this week, but the Georgia one all the way down at 45.5 does stand out to me a little bit. They didn't let Clemson score. 3 points. They were unbelievable, and now there's maybe some COVID concerns with Georgia. Some guys might be out there. You have a UAB team that scored 31 in their season opener against Jackson State, I think it was, but they shut them out. Not that it's anything like Georgia, but they can play a little bit of defense. At 45, and with what Georgia has going on, you could maybe convince me for a really low under in that game, especially because Georgia is just not going to let teams score this year.
All All right, what about your favorite bet of the week?
Favorite bet of the week is an easy one. Last week we gave out NC State minus 19 as the unreasonable odds play, and if it hit, we would get to give away 5 $100 free bets on DK Sportsbook. NC State mopped the floor with South Florida, 145-0. I think this team is being extremely undervalued in the market early here. 2.5-point road favorites against an SEC team, sure, but Mississippi State, 21-point home favorite in week 1, squeaked by La Tech by 1 point, so they underperformed. NC State, 10 starters back on defense, top 3 running backs back, top 3 receivers back. They have skilled position guys with experience all over the field, a really good defense. I think NC State goes in here and covers that 2.5-point spread against Mississippi State, another convincing victory.